On July 4th, 2026, our nation will celebrate its 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The journey towards this epic milestone is a chance to pause and reflect on our nation's past, honor the contributions of our fellow Americans, and look ahead to the future we want to create for the next generation and beyond. In conjunction with the celebration of the American independence in 1975, a group of ambitious individuals proposed the creation of an expansive outdoor museum that would interpret the contributions made by settlers from backcountry communities of England, Germany, Ireland, and West Africa that pioneered our western frontier in the 1700s. Today, the Frontier History Museum operates as an agency of the Commonwealth of Virginia and is a magnificent place to explore deep hidden in the valley of the Shenandoah Mountains. It's a wonderful place where future is past and past is future. No other place in the world like the Frontier Culture Museum. Let's take a look at it today on Exploring the American Frontier.
Don't worry, it just means your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it.
It's like the Disney World Frontier.
So make it a good one.
The Frontier Culture Museum is a wonderful place to explore our country's past. It is like no other place in the world. Folks interested in their old world ancestry, daily life can not only imagine, but spend the day living out life back in the past at these relocated original farms.
All right, everybody. We are here at the Frontier Museum of Staunton, Virginia. It's the Frontier Culture Museum. Your American journey starts here. So, sons of bathing, let's rock. Holy crap, this thing's ripping it. Be careful. Okay, and we don't want to lose our map. So let's...
The Frontier Culture Museum is like no other place in the world, and at its old world exhibits, you can experience daily life in the farm households in the 1600s and 1700s in England, Ireland, Germany, and West Africa. Interpreters and tours are available during the season to give you details about the lifestyle on the frontier. At the Culture Museum, and life way back during the contemporary time period in which them families' barns stand there today.
The kuche was the hearth room, or the center room, a workspace for cooking. It featured a raised cooking hearth, common in homes in the Palatinate. The raised hearth eliminated the need to bend over a hot fire to stir or sample the food. A raised hearth fire were also smaller than those used on the floor-level hearths, conserving firewood. These fires were more easily controlled so that several dishes could be cooked at once, using different intensities of heat. The oldest part of the house comprised 4 rooms arranged around a central chimney stack. The front room, called the Stube, functioned as a living room. It was the warmest room in the German house, as other rooms were typically unheated. Heat was provided by the masonry stove built in the inner corner of the room, fed through an opening in the rear of the Kuche fireplace.
Well, we got the sheep back there staring at me. I think they wanted a carrot, something, whatever sheep eat. Someone's bringing them something. Won't be giving sheep nothing but a carrot though.
Now we have to remember, at the time of the American colonization, most of these countries at the museum didn't even exist. England was ruled by a monarch as a kingdom that also ruled Ireland, and also the American colonies, the British Empire.
A new culture that developed on this venture you're joining us here in the winter, so...
Music was the heartbeat, the soul in the most of the African community. They play drums, celebrate. They play drums to moon. They play drums to communicate. So
West Africa had many kingdoms and a few large empires, but many of the region's numerous ethnic groups lived in their own self-governed villages and village groups.
Those kids, those goats.
Germany was not a country, but a collection of over 1,000 territories of various sizes with the Holy Roman Empire. Most people lived by farming local and trading, and the skills at which they were good at, like spinning and weaving, blacksmith, or woodworking. Being self-sufficient and not relying on governmental assistance. Their labor and available resources were dedicated to providing the needs of the household and meeting the obligations imposed upon them by the community, landlord, or their rulers. Success from one year to the next depended upon the fertility of the land, the weather, local order and security, and the resourcefulness of the household members. Everyone had a skill, everyone helped through the day. Bad weather, conflict, disease, injury, or death were common setbacks. Recovery, if it came, was slow and difficult. Success from year to year depended upon the fertility of the land. Weather, local order, security from Indian raids and outside warring parties, and the resourcefulness of household members. Everyone had a skill, and everyone was involved, and you were only as strong as your weakest link. It was especially true when hard times are spent over a wide area affected by many people and lasted for an extended period. Hardships in their homelands made it incredibly difficult for farmers to maintain their way of life just around the house with farming duties. As prospects diminished in the Old World, the North American colonies experienced rapid growth and success.
This is a working blacksmith shop. Usually the larger ones that we use, more rural blacksmiths are taken care of as well. So pretty much all of the ironwork that we use here, whether it's hardware for the houses or tools and things that we're using in our field work, pretty much all that is produced here, so we don't have to get that from somewhere else. And we make a wide range of things down here. Today I've been working on making some small S-hooks, but usually the larger ones that we have, like
Tours are available at the museum with tour guides going out every hour, I believe, and interpreters are there from the spring starting in March sometime. Check the website for exact details. Starting in the springtime, the interpreters will fill the fields and live the lifestyle as if they were living in the contemporary period. Side landscape that have grown in these fields for decades now. In England, Ireland, and Germany, the colonies were seen as places of an opportunity, a place where good land was available at a reasonable cost and with few obligations to political authorities and overlords.
Relations between Europeans and American Indians were initially defined by trade. Indians provided European traders with animal hides and furs in exchange for goods such as cloth, firearms, and steel tools. Trade was not one-sided. Deerskins and other animal furs were a resource highly valued by European leatherworkers and hat makers. Control of this commodity allowed American Indians to manipulate the European powers to their own advantage. However, the trade also made Indians dependent upon Europeans and led to a decline in the Indian-made goods. The demand for deerskins and beaver furs also led to a decline in animal populations, altering local ecosystems. The houses you see before you are called wigwams. Traditionally, Native Americans like the Lenni Lenape or Algonquin Iroquois tribes lived in wigwams or longhouses, sometimes side houses or tents, teepees as you would call them.
In these exhibits, they are not only time depictedly accurate, but the upkeep and ambiance in which the farm has is amazing. Like, you can tell these are happy little farms near the fertile Virginia Shenandoah Valley. Some of the stories are fascinating, and they really give you a feeling of the frontier life and old world alike. An extraordinary turn of events brought these people together, born in England, Ireland, Germany, and West Africa, together onto the frontier where American Indians had lived for centuries. The culture began to amalgamate into a melting pot of prosperity, but governments had their hands in the pot as well, and where there are too many cooks in the kitchen, wars began to break out. Over time, all of these groups created American frontier culture, a distinct culture, which to this day shapes the American identity.
Fathers and mothers. And in the New World, these cultures began blending. Life in America was not easy, and people needed one another. In every home, you could find influences from other countries and other cultures. From their neighbors, settlers learned better ways to farm, to weave, to build. People borrowed designs from the old countries and improved them.
Circumstances did present themselves. Most of the European and African population in America started their American dream as indentured servants or slaves.
What's up, you?
Politicians and lordships have long manipulated the public shape of manifest destiny. But for the history books, the frontier was a place of cooperation and mutual respect between brethren who needed one another to survive against the elements of the New World. The government, who wanted, and the green-eyed monster who hides in the shadows, who wanted to just a little bit more sugar to help with the medicine, to help it go down. Well, that's it for this video. If you want to learn more about the Frontier History Museum, check out their YouTube channel, where they offer virtual tours. Link in the description. And visit the Frontier Culture Museum in Staunton, Virginia today for your own Blast from the Past experience.
Well, this probably would have been me. The old tinsmith.
Extraordinary turn of events brought people from England, Ireland, and Germany, and West Africa together in the frontier where American Indians had lived for centuries. The cultures began to amalgamate into a melting pot of prosperity, but the governments had their teeth in the ordeal, and they had their hands in the pot as well. And when there was too many cooks in the kitchen, wars began to break out. Over time, All of these different groups created the American frontier culture, a distinct culture which to this day shapes the American identity. Well, that's it for this video. If you want to learn more about frontier history, check out the Frontier Culture Museum in Staunton, Virginia today. Casually check it out online. The link is in the description. And don't miss out on everything Staunton, Virginia and the Shenandoah Valley has to offer this summer. Thanks, guys. Always remember to get out there and explore.
As I walked around and wrapped up the day with a quick walk around the grounds of the Frontier Culture Museum, I gained a sense of belonging. I felt at home on the frontier, and I'm happy to share my experience with you guys today. Just remember to get out there and explore and capture a memory as the sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.